Hi guys, Coach Dani here, in my kitchen, ready to drop some nutritional knowledge bombs on you this week for crazy nutrition. So what I want to talk about today is macronutrients. I'm sure you guys hear the term macronutrients all the time, and you might not know exactly what that means. So basically, there are 3 different macronutrients that make up the majority of calories. We have protein, carbs, and fats. So we're going to start with protein. I brought out some little examples of things for you guys. So, protein, things like eggs, dairy products, meat is going to be primarily protein. So when you look on this label, you're going to see down here at the bottom, 5 grams of protein is pretty much all that's in that. Egg whites are a great source of protein, but that's besides the point. Protein is the building block to pretty much all muscle. If you want muscle, and you want to repair and be constantly rebuilding muscle, it's important that you consume protein. The second macronutrient group that we have is carbohydrates. So I've got some steamable sweet potatoes here. They're super easy to cook. You throw them in the microwave for I think 8 minutes or 8 minutes, okay? That's the lazy way. But sweet potatoes are a great source of carbohydrates. Also, rice is a great source of carbohydrates. When you look on these nutrition facts, you're going to see under carbohydrates that is going to be the main source of macronutrients that are in these things. So 26 grams of carbohydrates in 1 serving of the sweet potato and 32 grams of carbohydrates in 1 serving of this lovely bagged brown rice. So carbohydrates are the body's main source of readily available energy. While, yes, you can live without carbohydrates if you need to, why? If you can have carbohydrates and still get to all your nutrition goals, which is 8,000,000% possible, have them. They are going to be the best for performance in the gym, for feeling good and not feeling kind of like droopy and slow, because they're readily available energy. Super, super important. There's 2 different types of carbohydrates. The 2 that I just showed you are going to be what we call complex carbohydrates. They're complex. They just take a little while to break down. The other kind is going to be simple carbohydrates, which are things that you would consider to be more sugary. So say fruit juice, candy, anything that has a high sugar content. The reason being, it's simple, it breaks down easy, and it's available to you really quick. Like if you give, all the kids that you're babysitting a bunch of candy, chances are their parents are going to come home and they're bouncing off the walls, right? Because all that energy kicks in super fast. And the last macronutrient that we have is nutritional fat. So nutritional fat can come in many forms. Here I have some examples: coconut oil, almond butter, cashew butter, avocados, olive oil, tons of stuff that you can get nutritional fat from. So when you look on here, you're going to see, I don't know if you guys can see this, but you're going to see that the main thing we got here is total fat. We have 16 grams of fat in 1 serving in this little container, and this one has 14 grams of fat. Okay, so basically whatever the dominant nutrient is on here is going to be the main source that it's coming from. But keep in mind that you might see some incidental crossovers here. So this also has 7 grams of carbohydrates and I think 6 grams of protein, which is why it's a good reason to always mix up your sources and not always eat the same thing, because you'll be getting other incidental macronutrients and micronutrients from certain things. So here's what I want to talk to you about. I made you guys this. Look how pretty. So this is basically a workup of what my whole day might look like. So I guess it's backwards for you, but I don't know how to read backwards or write backwards, I suppose. So this is sort of a typical day in the life of a random person, okay? I'm going to use Hakeem, my wonderful 7:30 client or 6:30 client as an example here, because he and I were just talking about this morning, and I think it's a really great topic. So say Hakeem, sometimes he comes to the 7:30, sometimes he comes to the 6:30. So he's going to wake up in the morning, right? And then we're looking at a 6-meal spread here, which is fairly ideal. So meal 1, when he wakes up, should be 1 to 3 hours before his workout. if he has it any closer than an hour to his workout, it's going to probably sit in his stomach a little bit. And I'd say might be better off, either waking up and eating it earlier or not having it and saving it for after. But in an ideal world, he would wake up and he would have just protein and carbs. Okay, so egg whites and sweet potatoes, right? The 2 examples I just brought out. Then he's going to go to his workout, good old Hakeem. He comes into the gym, and what I want him to do is I want him to bring something that has protein and something that has simple carbohydrates in it. So what I do is I'll get my protein shaker, I get a scoop of protein in it, and I mix it with about 20 or 25 grams of fruit juice. Shake it up, and then I'll sip it just like it were water in between sets. Say I'm doing back squats. I'll sip it like it were water in between the sets. Or as I needed when I go along. So I'll try to drink half of it during my workout and then finish it right after. So far we only have protein, carbs, protein, simple carbs. Okay? After he leaves, within 45 minutes of leaving the gym after getting his workout in, he's going to want to have a meal. Okay? It's going to be, you guessed it, protein and carbs. So I already told you guys that carbohydrates are our main source of energy, right? So we want to make sure that we're packing these 3 meals before, during, after, full of carbohydrates. You'll notice protein is all throughout the day here because we're constantly trying to repair and rebuild our muscles, so it's super important to get that on an even keel throughout the day. But so we have protein, carb, protein, carb, protein, carb. Now as we get a little bit away from that workout window, we're not going to need as much fuel to keep us going. So we're going to start to switch over and taper off to protein fats. So fats are slow digesting. So anything that you pair, you guys hear the puppy crew coming in? So if you pair your fats with any other macronutrient, what the fat is going to do is it digests much slower. So it's going to bind to whatever you've already eaten, and it's going to also slow down the digestion of that. So if you have fat with your protein and carb intra-workout shake, say you threw some almond butter in there, that's going to sit in your stomach. You don't want that. So you want to keep the fats for later in the day, okay? So now we're on to meal 4, protein, carbs, and fats, okay? We can go back to complex carbs. Doesn't necessarily have to be simple carbs like we want during our workout. And we're going to mix some fats in there. Then as we get away from here, we're going to add back in the fats. They're going to help to keep us satiated throughout the day and keep us a little bit fuller since they digest a little bit slower. I guess I should move back, huh? And we still have that protein to rebuild the muscle, okay? And same thing, you guessed it, protein and fats at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, what I do is I'll have a casein shake right before bed. Casein protein is also going to be kind of like a slow digesting, slow releasing protein so that while you're sleeping, say you sleep for 8 hours a night, lucky you, but also that's 8 hours that you're not eating. So getting a slow acting protein like casein in right before bed is going to be really good for you so you can keep replenishing your muscles. Pups, hey. While you're sleeping, and the fat is also going to keep it nice and slow and even keeled so that you're going to wake up not starving. You won't wake up in the middle of the night with like hunger pangs, like I need to eat something. So here, let's see. Can you guys get a good look at this? Okay, guys, so if you have any questions about things like this, these are going to be things that I'm talking about going forward in the weeks ahead. There is also another macronutrient, alcohol, which can be worked into this if you need it to be without totally ruining your progress, okay? Saved for special occasions, of course, not meant to be for every single day, but we're going to talk about that next week. And until then, if you have any questions, post them below in the comments or feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.